Hey guys, it's Nina, and today I'm going to be doing my Bookish year in review. This is kind of a hodgepodge of different things. Basically, first I want to go over some Goodreads analytics, because those are a thing, you'll see. And then I also want to go over, of course, my top books for the year, and then lastly, just a few resolutions for this year. So first up, some Goodreads analytics. If you don't know what these are, basically Goodreads, about a week or so before the end of the year, they had this little thing on Goodreads where you could click on it. It said like your year in books or something like that, and it gives you all your stats for like different reading things. Like, it's really interesting. And if you want to see your own stats, you go to my books, and then it should be like a big tag at the top of the page. So let's see what mine said. First thing it tells you is obviously total number of books read. My Goodreads challenge for this year was 30 books, and I hit that exactly, reading 30 books. And then next to that, it has your total number of pages read, and I read over 9,000 pages this year, which sounds really impressive. Like, I am very proud of that number. Thank you very much. I feel like books and pages are two very different things. Like, this year I read a lot of graphic novels, so that lowered it a lot, but I also read a lot of books that, I read like 3 or 4 books that were like 700 plus pages. So it evens out. 9,000 pages, like, I feel pretty good about that. So the shortest book that I read this year, according to Goodreads, is Ms. Marvel, and this is 120 pages. And the longest book that I read is Winter by Marissa Meyer at 824 pages. The book this year that I read that the most other people on Goodreads had read is The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and this has over 1 million other reviews. Like, obviously it's a Narnia book. And the book that I read that had the least amount of reviews on Goodreads is She Would Not Be Moved by Herbert Cole. This had 44 reviews. I read this for school, so that kind of makes sense. This year I had a very good reading year. The average rating that I dished out this year on Goodreads was a 4.3, which is really high. I had a lot of 5 stars, 5 and 4 stars, so that makes sense to me. And the last stat that I have is the book that I read that has the highest Goodreads rating. That's Queen of Shadows, which has a 4.65 rating. So that's it for my Goodreads stats. I just thought that was like a really cool thing to look through, like see what my year in books was like, more than just like my Goodreads challenge. And as I said, you guys can find that like if you go to the tabs at the top. It's only on the webpage, not in the app, by the way. Go to your books. It'll be right there. I encourage you to look through yours as well. And next up, of course, I have my favorite books for the year. So I'm not going to be doing 15 books for 2015 because, as I said, I only read 30 books and 15 is like half. So even the top 15 wouldn't be like my favorite books. Instead, I'm going to be doing my 5 favorite books / series of the year and my 5 favorite graphic novels of the year, because I read 20 books this year and 10 graphic novels, so I have a lot of graphic novels to show you. I didn't want to put them on the same list because they're not always comparable, so they're just going to be separate. Let's start with books. My 5th favorite book that I read this year was Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. This past year and a half or so, I've gotten really into mystery, and this book was just amazing. It was everything that I could hope for in a mystery novel. It was suspenseful, I didn't know what was going to happen, it kept me on the edge of my seat, all that, and I gave this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Agatha Christie is just the queen of mysteries, and I highly recommend this if you want to dive into the world of mystery. Number 4 on my list was The Final Empire, the first Mistborn book by Brandon Sanderson. This book was pretty good. I gave it like a 4.5 out of 5 stars. When I read it, I wasn't incredibly impressed with it. Like, I did really like it, but the hype for this book was insane. Like, there's nothing but good things about this on BookTube, and everyone talks about it, or everyone was talking about it earlier this year. And I did really enjoy it, but it wasn't as good as what I had set it up to be, so that was kind of why it had the lesser rating. But then as time has gone on, I have come to appreciate this book so much more. Like, lately I've just really wanted to read the next book in the series because I haven't picked it up yet, and that to me indicates that this is a good book, where I just have a craving to read the next book in the series. Like, I want to get my hands on it, even though this wasn't my favorite thing in the world, but I'm kind of like missing it. Like, I need more of it in my life, and that is indicative of a good book, so that's why this had to make my list, even though I only gave it like a 4 or 4.5 stars only. That's still a good rating, but it's not 5 out of 5 stars. You get me? Okay. Next up, my number 3 pick is I Am the Messenger by Marcus Zuzak. This I easily gave a 5 out of 5 stars. I absolutely loved it the entire time I was reading it. I don't even know why I picked it up, because this is like a contemporary. I didn't really know what it was about, but it had just been sitting on my shelf for so long, and I just picked it up completely on a whim, and I'm so glad I did. I feel like this was one of those books where I just read it at the right time in my life. Like, it just hit me, and it was amazing. And this is about a 19-year-old boy. Is he still a boy? A man. who is a taxi driver, and he's not really doing anything with his life, and then he gets a playing card in the mail with addresses and corresponding times, and at each of those places there's someone who needs help in their life, and he has to go and help them, and I just got so much out of this book. I loved it to bits, and I cannot sing its praises enough. At number 2, we have, surprise, surprise, Winter by Marissa Meyer. I just finished this a week ago or so, and oh my god, it was so good. It was so good. I loved it. Easy 5 out of 5 stars. For those of you who don't know, The Lunar Chronicles is one of my most favorite series ever. I am in love with it. And Winter just did not disappoint. I can't say too much about it because 4th book in the series, but it was just amazing. Everything I asked for. I do like Cress a little bit better, but I still loved it. It was a perfect concluding novel. I couldn't have asked for anything better. And now for my number 1 series, which should come as a big surprise again. It is the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. I read all of them except the first one, Throne of Glass, this year. Assassin's Blade wasn't actually that good. It was 4 stars, but I read it this year. But Crown of Midnight, Heir of Fire, and Queen of Shadows, I give them all 5 out of 5 stars. I loved them all in their own ways. This was another series where I just had a craving for it. Throne of Glass wasn't all that great. It was good. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I liked it, and I didn't really know if I was going to continue with the rest of the series or not. But this summer, I just, out of nowhere, was I really want to read a Throne of Glass book. I was just in the mood for it. I needed one. So I picked up Crown of Midnight. I utterly devoured it, and then the next 3, I've just been so obsessed with this series for the latter half of this year. They are now one of my all-time favorite series, and I'm sure you've heard me rant about them enough on this channel, and other people. Everyone rants about these days, so yes, easily my number 1 series of the year. Next up, let's talk about some graphic novels. So my 5th favorite graphic novel duology for this year was the March books. I don't have them with me because they're in my dorm room, but they're called March, and they're by John Lewis, and they're basically about John Lewis's involvement in the civil rights movement. The first one talks about his childhood and then how he got involved in the movement and the lunch counter sit-ins, and then the second one talks about the March on DC and the Freedom Rides. And these graphic novels were just amazing. They were beautifully done. The artwork is great, but they were also just so educational. They should be mandatory reading everywhere because they're so educational but also engaging and just perfect. So well done, and I definitely recommend them. Up next is another graphic novel duology, which should again be required reading everywhere, and that is Mouse Volume 1 and 2. I don't own number 2. This is the graphic novel duology about the Holocaust. They're by Art Spiegelman, and it's his father who survived the Holocaust. And in this, the Nazis are depicted as cats, and the Jews as mice, and the Poles as pigs. And these are just so well done. I would be shocked if you hadn't heard about them at all. And again, just beautifully done. The artwork is great. The storyline's great. They're just so chilling, engaging, educational. These really should be required reading in all schools. And my final 3 graphic novels are all Marvel comics, and the first one being Captain Marvel. This graphic novel I read earlier this year, so I don't really remember much about it, but I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. I really liked it. The reason I picked it up is because they are making a Captain Marvel movie, not until 2019 or something like that, but I'm still really excited. It's going to be the first female-led superhero movie from the MCU, so I'm super excited for that, so I had to pick up one of her comics before then, and I do want to read more of them. I picked up a lot of comics really early in the year, but I haven't picked up many since then, but I do want to read more of her comics because this was really good. At my number 2 spot, we have Hawkeye, My Life is a Weapon. This is the second one, Little Hits. This one I didn't like as much, but I can't find the first one. I think I loaned it out to a friend. But the first Hawkeye one was fantastic, 5 out of 5 stars. This one wasn't very good. But I just love Hawkeye graphic novels. There's so much sass in them and snarkiness. Hawkeye is one of my favorite Avengers. He's so amazing. They just had the perfect blend of adventure and snarkiness, and the artwork was great, and I loved the characters, and I just loved them. And my favorite graphic novel of the year was Black Widow, The Finely Woven Thread, and I am a sucker for Black Widow. She's my favorite Avenger in the current MCU. I mean, I like Spider-Man a little bit more, but she's my second favorite. And I just love her story so much. This graphic novel was amazing. It was so action-packed. Characters, again, were fantastic. I love Black Widow as a character. Yeah, it just had the perfect blend of everything I could ask for in a comic graphic novel. I loved it. I just loved it. So those were my favorite books, graphic novels, etc. And now I just want to quickly talk about some like New Year's resolutions. So as I said, last year I had a goal of 30 books and I reached that exactly with 30 books. And this coming year I plan to do the exact same thing. I'm still leaving my goal at 30 books because I feel like that was like my sweet spot. Like it's a perfect amount where I'm kind of pushing myself, but I'm also not feeling the pressure to only read short books. Like I still have room to read those longer books if I want to. Other New Year's resolutions, I guess, make more videos, make better videos, make videos. I know I'm not very consistent with my video uploading. I guess that would be a resolution to make that more consistent, but I don't know if that will actually happen anytime soon. So I guess just push myself to make better videos, but that's not really New Year's resolutions. That's just like an ongoing resolution, which is the best kind of resolution actually, so I'm fine with that. I'll end it there. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, you can give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to see the rest of my videos. And let me know down below what your end of year stuff was, like resolutions, favorite books, etc. Y'all know what to do. I don't say y'all. Why did I just say y'all? But that is it. I will see you guys later with another video. Goodbye.